Are we on? Is this thing working? All right. Where do we go from here? Let's just leave. It's not gonna work. Sorry. Ciao. Well, I knew this was a bad week to quit sniffing glue, but anyway, here we are. Welcome, boys and girls, to the Crow's Nest, situated high above Bloomfield Avenue, right here in Outremont, Montreal, our fair city, QC. I'm gonna sit here and babble for a while because somebody asked me to talk about the stuff that I carry when I go out on my bike tours, bike camping trips, overnighters, call it what you will. So I have agreed to do so against my better judgment, but who knows, this could be fun. We'll see where it takes us, right? All right, so I'm gonna break this down into, I think it's 7 categories altogether. We're gonna look at sleep systems, clothing, kitchen, food, shelter, water, and miscellaneous. So I think what I'll do is I'll start with water because I learned some hard lessons last season on a 10-day trip. Discovered that I just did not have enough water. Even though I carried a lot of beer, it just wasn't enough fluids for the terrain I was covering with the given weather conditions. So I jettisoned those stupid, bike water bottles because they're worthless. And instead, what I did was I picked up one of these. This is a Camelback bottle, 750 mils, right? The bike racing bottles are generally around 500 mils. I had 2 of those. So this is 750 mils. Look at the blue color, it's beautiful. Then recently I also got this one too. Now this is 1 liter. It's a dedicated Nalgene bottle. And what's beautiful about these 2 bottles is you can boil water and fill these up and put them in your sleeping bag to stay warm at night. This is generally enough, but if it's cold, and I mean cold, this is gonna keep you warm all night long. And I've discovered that if you boil water and put them in these 2 bottles, they will last for 6 to 7 hours, pumping heat, keeping your ass warm. So forget about the other bottles. I had a stainless steel bottle that I picked up from Canadian Tire, which I really loved because it was over 1 liter, but that booger would leak. And if you have a down sleeping bag, or any sleeping bag for that matter, the last thing you want is hot water leaking into your bedding. All right, so that's category number 1. Category number 2, since we've been talking about bedding, is the sleep system. And my sleep system packs into this bag right here, and it weighs approximately 8 pounds. This is a Ortlieb knockoff pannier. It has some, decent clips, easy to use, lever actuated clips. And my sleep system lives in here. So I'm gonna open it up and we'll go through it. But first, I gotta take a break because I gotta take a break. Okay, sorry for that delay. Anyway, I gotta back up just a bit here. The 2 water bottles that I just spoke about, when they're full, they weigh about 4.5 pounds, I believe, total. Sorry, I'm talking in pounds, not kilograms or things like that, because I'm a lazy bastard as well as a cheap bastard. So everything's gonna be in pounds. Sorry, I'm old school, I'm old. What do? You can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? So let's open up this bag. This bag, which I believe I said weighs about 8 pounds total. This is the sleep system bag. This rides on the back rack of my bike, obviously. Maybe that's not obvious, but anyway, there's a couple of key things in here. that always, you can't leave home without them. This thing right here is a head net, and in the head net I keep a wool sock. And this wool sock is used to insert this bottle with boiling water inside. So this is my baby all night long. So that's in there. The other thing that's in the head net, and I have the head net because recently I've become enamored with just using a tarp to go camping. So you got bugs to contend with. The other two things inside the head net is, this is merino wool nylon blend long underwear. And this is what I sleep in at night. If it's cold, obviously. If it's not cold, well, you know, you can sleep in whatever you like. But this is a small bundle, doesn't weigh much, packs away easy, and that's that. That's part of the sleep system. The other thing I have recently acquired is just a ground sheet. This is from a two-person tent, nature hike, cloud up, two-person tent, and it's the ground sheet. And I don't like the tent, but the ground sheet is actually very useful. So that's in the sleep system bag, and obviously my sleeping bag would rest on top of that. But first, it has to rest on top of this, and this is a Climate V inflatable air mattress, and it also has an inflatable pillow rolled up inside. Nice, light, easy bundle. Never leave home without it. Then lastly, what I have is, I've been using two sleeping bags together. I have a synthetic bag that's rated to, I guess you would call it 30 degrees, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 Celsius. That rating is so misleading. It's not nearly warm enough for those temperatures. So what I did was I bought a very light duty down sleeping bag to go with that. So they just pack together inside here. And the mesh storage bag, sometimes I use, sometimes I don't really need it, but you know, it has other useful functions as well, so it's in there. So this is the down bag, and what is this? It's an Aegis Max, very, very inexpensive bag. I think I paid like $100 for it. It's what I would call a summer bag or spring bag, early fall bag. It's also rated to, I think, around 30 degrees, but the rating is so misleading. And then I have this, what did I say? I think I paid about $100 for that, and then I paid, I think I paid $60 for this piece of junk. Here's the label. Shame, shame, shame. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Chinook. It's a piece of garbage, but to its credit, what I do is I get inside of this and I put it underneath me, and then I put this one, you know, over top of this cheap bag, and it actually works really well. I've been down to -5 with those, -5 Celsius, maybe a little colder too. But what you have to remember is I'm also wearing my sleep clothes, wool socks. I think when it gets that cold, I even put on my puffy down jacket, and then I have a wool cap that goes over top of that. Somewhere, it's not here, but I'll find that, show you that. So that's in the rear pannier. I bought 2 of these panniers. I think I paid $80 for them. What's the brand name? Waterfly. I don't even, you know, Amazon.ca. You Americans can get them for less, I'm sure. But these have been really durable bags. Nothing fancy, just a big old pocket, a bucket, if you will. But they have held up really well. And I have read reviews where these clips tend to break. Well, obviously, if you overload them. 8 pounds, that's what I'm putting in these. I think they say you can put 25 pounds in them. Oh God, I would not do that. But so far they've been a real champ for me. Love them, recommend them, highly, 10 out of 10. There were some clips on the side here so that you could roll this and clip it and clip it down on the side. Well, I cut those off because I don't use them, and I regret that. I'm sorry I did that. But anyway, that's that. All right, I gotta back up again because I forget things. That's what happens when you get old, you forget things. This sleep mat, the Climate V, I bought it I think 5 years ago, and I'm fairly certain I spent around $70 for it. And the pillow that's also rolled in here is a Trekology pillow, which you can get really cheap. I think they're like $16 Canadian. All the dollar amounts that I'm gonna spew out are Canadian dollars, okay? Sorry, Americans. So if you're in the US and are unfortunately watching this, $20 Canadian equals like 15 US, give or take. All right, so that's that. So next up is the clothing bag, and this also is the same type of bag that my sleep system sits in. Also rides on the rear rack, obviously. This typically is about 8 pounds, 8 to 9 pounds max, until I start packing cans of beer in here. And we'll just kind of go through what I take, how it's in there. Packing stuff is very important. You have to pack things in such a way that, well, it's going to be the first thing out if such and such a situation arises. So generally on top, I've got a really serious military grade wool watch cap, and there's a little buff in there. This can go in this bag, or it can go in the sleep system bag. It's variable. It's not chiseled in stone, right? So next up is the rain gear. I have a pair of Mountain Equipment Co-op rain pants and some off-name brand raincoat. Nice high-vis color though, love that. What do these cost? God, I have no idea. The raincoat was about $60, and the pants I think was probably something like that as well. I bought these so many years ago, I've just completely forgotten. But they're handy in the event that it should rain. I can also stuff these in my handlebar bag, so I don't have to get into my clothes bag if it's raining. You know, you gotta be flexible, right? So then, next up is what I call the personals kit. This is first aid, this is bug repellent, Tylenol, drugs. There's some crack cocaine in here, I believe, and I think there's still a couple of syringes in there with a spoon and a lighter. So, you know, when you need your fix, it's there, at hand, close by. Next up is a bag of clothes. Oh shit, and I can't remember what I have in this bag of clothes, but let's just go through it. This is a little, just a little ditty bag that I sewed with me own two hands so many years ago. So there's a pair of wool socks just in case. Always got to have some wool socks handy. What have I got in here? I got a t-shirt, a clean, dry, lightweight, super soft cotton t-shirt, some clean undies, some silk nylons. We don't need to look at that. And then this is a pair of cargo pants, and the legs zip off. So it's a great thing to have. It's shorts or it's long pants, depending on the situation with the bugs. The bugs are a bitch. So there's that, and I also have this little elastic on there. That's actually for riding. You know, you just put that elastic on the bottom of your pant leg. So it holds it all together. I love this multi-purpose shit. You will too. Then I think the last thing in this bag is oh yeah, my puffy jacket. Cheap puffy jacket. This jacket, I think I paid $50 for it. I don't know how many years ago. It is down-filled. It has been a champ. It has saved my ass so many times. These pants, by the way, they're from Costco. I think they were $30. Insane. The long underwear, that was also from Costco, by the way. And I think the shirt and the pants might have been $50 together total. Canadian. So that's that. That's what's in the clothing bag. So that's 2 bags we've gone through already on the back of the bike. All that shit comes with me. Now those 2 bags, the clothing bag and the sleep system bag, generally, I say generally, have a combined weight of 16 pounds total together, the two of them. You know, sounds like a lot, but on a bicycle, you don't feel it until, of course, you start climbing a hill. All right, so what's next? Let's get into the handlebar bag next, but first, I need to, you know, get something. Whoa. Okay. So the handlebar bag, this is a Rockgeist handlebar bag, and it's made for the Jones H-bar handlebar setup. It's got a nice clear pocket on the top. That's where I usually put my cell phone. And then inside it opens up, and you've got a 6-liter bag that will hold just about anything. I like to think of this as my glove box more than anything else because it, you know, you can put just about anything in it. Usually I say, I'll have a camera in there, and then I'll have you know, a spare lens or two, a couple of spare batteries for the camera, and then one of these big battery packs to charge up my phone or whatever. I used to have all of my bike tools in here, but recently some slimy bastard downtown took them all and left me with just a selection of Allen keys. Well, that's handy. Glad he did that. So this bag, oh, I forgot to mention, it also has this little webbing pocket on the front, and this is where ultimately I would prefer to keep my rain gear. Right up front, you know, if anything happens, it's easy to get to. I don't have to worry about soaking me clothes or anything like that. Yeah, so that's, don't you love this little compass? That's so cool. I love that. So that's a bag that I'm ashamed to say I spent a lot of money for. It was expensive. We'll just leave it at that. I don't want to talk about that anymore. So this bag with the contents that I've just dragged out of it also is around 4.5 pounds in weight. So what's up next? Oh gosh. Up next is going to be the shelter system. You got to have shelter. Normally I have been traveling for the last, I don't know how many years, with a MSR Hubba NX solo tent. It's beautiful. I love it. It's freestanding. It's super, super light. I think it weighs less than 2 pounds total. But it's a small space, and I've discovered when it rains, man, being stuck in a solo tent for 14 hours is no cakewalk. So that's why I started playing with this tarp biz and using the head bug net. That's a good combo. So what I have is, let's unlock this, shall we? A couple of straps that hold it all together. First off are two, these are just cheap, what are they called? Overmount is the brand, trekking poles, and there's 2 of them, and they collapse very nicely. These straps, by the way, I also use to lock my bike, because I put them around the brake handles. I have hydraulic brakes, and suddenly the bike just doesn't move. So there's those. That's nice. Multi-use. So these are these collapsible trekking poles. They're lovely. They've got cork handles, and they're fairly lightweight. I think I paid about $40 for these a while back. And then the tarp itself is, I don't know if you can see this name, Kalinko Hammocks tarp. It's 3 meters by 3 meters. It has 19 tie-out points all around the perimeter and then across the middle here. So the number of setup configurations you can come up with is, you know, it's all in your imagination. There's so many ways you can use this. And I'm still experimenting, still playing, and I just love it. But this is This is only a $40 tarp. It's really light. Comes with its own stakes. There's 6 stakes to peg it down with. Comes with a lot of tarp lines to help you configure it any way you like. I would love to invest in a really good lightweight, because this is heavy, man. It's really heavy. It weighs about 2 pounds. But it's cheap, it's reliable, and that's why we like it. Then I have my porch pad. This is it used to be a foam sleep pad, and I just cut a section of it, pounded in some grommets, you know, for whatever reason. I don't know. I thought it looked cool. Broadstone is the brand. I think it came from Canadian Tire. Canadian Tire. You Americans have no idea what you're missing. Canadian Tire. So this goes with me everywhere, and it weighs virtually nothing. I'm not sure I even paid for this. I think I found this sleeping pad somewhere and just cannibalized it. But anyway, very light, very useful. 1,001 uses. You can use it to sit on. You can use it to lay on, actually, next to the fire. Obviously not your entire body, but you can get your shoulder and your hip on there, and that's why I like it. And if you ever have to change your clothes when it's wet outside, this is what you stand on, so you don't get your feet filthy dirty, your socks filthy dirty. And that's that. All right, what's next? All right, let's forge on ahead. We're almost through this. Thanks for bearing with me. So the next up is the food bag, the feed bag. And this is an item that I purchased last year. It's a 6-liter Rhino Walk roll top waterproof bag, right? And it's kind of a little ingenious system the way it works. It's designed to attach to suspension forks. So there's a piece that is attached to my down tube on the fork, and this just slides right onto that attachment point. Really groovy, easy to get on, easy to get off. I weighed this bag earlier, and I think it was, yeah, these two front bags, they weigh 6 pounds total together. But this is the food bag, and it sits generally on the right-hand side of my bike. And in it, I have a grocery bag. Stuff's all in there, nice and little. Yeah, just the way you like it. I also have in there my water purification system. This is what they call a Sawyer squeeze system. There's the filter in there, and you just fill up this bottle with water and screw the filter on to the water bottle and squeeze it into your whatever receptacle, pot, bottle that you want to use. That's emergency stuff. And I have used this in some pretty dire situations. The most recent, and what I find the most funny, was I was heading to Deep River, Ontario, and I ran out of water, and the only water source available was this beaver pond. Man, you talk about some kludgy water. But I had the filter, so I was desperate, and I used it, and I drank that water, and it was disgusting. But there it is. You know, where would I be if I didn't have that? I probably would have been in very dire circumstances. And I was really desperate when I did finally bust that out and use it. So I don't pack a lot of food, generally speaking. I like, you know, you can get a tin of baked beans. My favorite is the old Mr. Noodle with some clover leaf tuna. What is this, lemon pepper? That's my favorite. Throw in some hot sauce. Bob's your uncle. There, that's sea ration. That's emergency food right there. When you're ready to bonk, throw that on. And also I have had a little container full of olive oil, which is now almost empty. That's useful. Then another recent acquisition is the titanium firebox. That is a brilliant little stove. What did that cost? Oh, I got it, I think, for $20 I got a special deal on this. It was like $25 for titanium. Get out! Yeah, I love this. It's beautiful. Works great. I'm not gonna set it up now. I'm gonna say, look back at one of the old vids. You can see this thing in use. Coming back to the Sawyer, I have no idea what I paid for this. I think they're like 25, 30, 40. Take your pick. Cheap. The other thing, this is kind of an interesting little mishmash. This is it's an MSR plate, bowl, whatever you want to call it, but it also doubles as a cutting board. So I love that. And then inside that is a anodized aluminum fry pan that comes from the Trangia set. Love it. I love the Trangia set, but it's more like for canoe camping or something, car camping. It doesn't work for me on the bike. Although I could carry that, was it the Trangia 27? It's a solo version. Trangia 25 is bigger than the 27, oddly enough, despite the weird numbering. But this works great on the new titanium wood burner. And it has this handy dandy little handle. So it's a real champ, love it. And it cleans up really well. I was really surprised. So then I also have in there a, what is this? This is an MSR spatula. Spatula, yeah. You know you love a spatula, yes? So that's a little lightweight, collapsible, folding spatula. Love it, works great. And I keep that little bit of kit in a Ziploc bag like this because if you're gonna put this on a fire, it's gonna get really black and full of all that tar and shit, and it makes a huge mess on your digits. I did just clean this a little while ago, so it doesn't have that black stuff on it. But the old bag that I took it out of was covered with that black shit. It's a mess, man. Cooking over fire is messy. You gotta be prepared to do what's necessary when you're cooking over fire. So there's that. That's a brilliant little piece of kit right there. The bowl I think was about 10 bucks. The Trangia cook set itself that this pan came out of was ridiculously expensive. I'm not going to talk about that, but you can always order a pan or shit, pick up any stainless steel pan. It'd be great. You'll love it. What else we got in here? Ah, yes, we've got the brew kit, as the Brits like to call it. This is just tea, honey, coffee, you know, the little instant coffee sachets. There's the honey. Can't live without honey. Honey, you can't live without it. So there's that. That's a necessity, honey, and tea and coffee. What else is in here? Oh, right. I have a little micro fiber cloth for cleanup. You know, to clean my face, to wash my hands, and wipe my sorry ass at the end of the day. And then clean my plates and dishes. So that's that. That's it. That's all that's in this little bag. 3 pounds generally is the average load for this. Okay. I got one more. This is my favorite. I obsess over this more than anything else. This is the Camp Kitchen Proper. Again, it's a 6-liter bag. It weighs typically around 3 pounds loaded. So we'll go through it one item at a time. This is my fuel of choice if I can't find dry firewood. It's fondue fuel. You can also use methylated spirits or, yeah, methylated spirits or what's the other one? Yeah, methylated spirits. Also in here is my fire kit, which basically is just a ferrocerium rod with a striker, a couple of lighters, and then I always pack this stuff here. This is just those cotton face wipe pads that my wife uses to, you know, rub her face off. God, her ears are burning now. So that's the fire kit. And I really enjoy using the ferrocerium rod. You can just strike that and that cotton stuff will ignite. And that's a good fire starter. I always carry a little saw with me. I mean, you wouldn't think it would be useful, but it is incredibly useful. But the trick is you have to know how to unfold it, which clearly I do not possess that knowledge. Anyway, this is a Baco folding saw. That's from Mountain Equipment Co-op. That's about $18, I believe. This fuel, by the way, I got it at a grocery store. It was grossly overpriced. It was $8 for 500 mils. You can go to any hardware store and buy that same amount for like $4. So hardware stores, you can always get fuel. That's for the alcohol stove. Okay, we'll come into that. Then I have my best friend, backpacker's best friend, in my opinion, is the Mora HD Companion. Nice stainless steel, carbon steel. So you got to be careful; it will get rusty. You got to take care of it. But the nice thing about it is it has a really thick spine. I think it's 3 millimeters. The standard Mora is like 1.2 or something like that. Beautiful knife. You can baton wood with it. You can split wood to get dry wood to get your fire going. You can fight off the zombies or all the weird freaks that you encounter down at the water's edge, down by the river. So that's great. Then I got, oh my God, this is it. The IKEA fire pot. I'm gonna have to pause here because I gotta figure out how to show you this. It is so cool. So just give me a moment, let me think. I'll be right back. All right, I think I got it sorted. Before I dive into this little piece of genius, I'm gonna pull out the last few tidbits in the camp kitchen bag. And they are, well, you're always gonna need a cleaning sponge. So I just cut a square from the kitchen sink. That's good for scrubbing stuff, and that says it all. And the last two things I have in here are a knife and a fork. These are GSI plastic knife and fork. I got these at Mountain Equipment Co-op a couple of years ago. I think they were 99 cents each, and they are indestructible. You could, if you like, pay $17 or 20 bucks for a titanium spork, whatever. Go ahead, be my guest. These weigh almost nothing, and they're in my price range, so that's why I like them. So that is it for the bag itself. Again, this is just a simple roll top bag, waterproof. So far, no complaints. It's been reliable. It's got some reflective shit on it, you know, so it's high vis. Obviously it's orange, my favorite color for outdoor gear. So okay, here we go, the deep dive into the IKEA fire pot. This is the product of far too much time exploring, engineering. So the fire pot itself comes from IKEA, and it's not a fire pot according to IKEA. It's something that you put silverware in to drain after being washed or something like that. But it's full of holes, and it's great for making a fire in. So at the bottom of that, I have this little thing here. Oh, $5 at IKEA, Canadian dollars, $5. I think this one cost me $1 at a secondhand store, but this is brilliant stainless steel. Bulletproof, bomb-proof. When the apocalypse comes, when the zombies come marching into your home, you're gonna wanna have some solid stainless steel. So at the bottom of the fire pot, I store a collapsible bowl, or I guess some might call it a cup, but I use it as a bowl. And this is what my oatmeal gets served up in. This is a Sea to Summit mug. They call it a mug, I call it a bowl. I forget, I think this was like $11. It was a little overpriced, but for what it does, it's perfect for me because it just fits right in the bottom of the old fire pot. Yeah. So next up is a 750 milliliter, excuse me, mils, 750 mil stainless steel cook pot. And in that cook pot, I keep these 2 tent pegs. And what these are for, these are pot stands for the fire pot. And I'm gonna demonstrate because I'm so proud of this. It's just such a joy to use. Look at that. They lock right in there. They don't fall out. Come on, can I get down? All right, so there's a 750 mil pot. It does have its own lid. You know, it's got that little locking mechanism there so you can get the lid off without burning the shit out of your fingers. Inside the pot, hey, is a GSI mug. Fits in there perfectly. The mug also has a little insulation sleeve on it. We'll come back to this because we're not done. But here's the pot. What's the brand? It's Lixada stainless steel pot. It has a bail handle on it, which I love to death. It used to have folding side handles, but to me they're worthless, so I just junked them. I don't need them. So that pot sits right on top of the old IKEA fire pot. Bam, Bob's your uncle. You're cooking with fire. Wood. It's a twig stove, okay? It's a twig stove. We call it a wood burner, but it's a twig stove. So that means that, you know, if it's not pouring rain, you have free fuel for this baby. Also, this baby becomes a little campfire in the evening to lounge by and have your gin and tonics or whatever. And it's absolutely groovy. The bag that the pot comes in has a little piece of Reflectix in the bottom. So when the pot comes off that hot fire, I can hold it just like this, and I can pour water as needed for whatever reason. Let's go to the cup. The cup is cool too because inside the cup is Plan B. Plan B is a Fancy Feast alcohol stove made with me very own hands. It cost nothing to make. 2 tin cans and some carbon felt I had on hand actually from a plumbing project. And then inside is a Nalgene bottle with, it will hold 4 ounces of fondue fuel. So that's Plan B. If it's raining, it's windy, I'm tired, whatever, I just want to boil some water for some coffee, some tea, some noodles, or to rehydrate a dehydrated meal. Bam, that's job done right there. Also in the cup is a Bic lighter. Never leave home without it. The cool thing about this cup is it has a lid. And the lid has an O-ring that goes all the way around. And it has this little opening here, which also has a rubber gasket. I've had this in my tent and knocked it over, and nothing fell out. This is pure joy. Plus, it's a big mug. It's a man-sized mug, right? It's not one of those little cheap, chintzy things that... Oh, never mind. Never mind. But here. So this is a wood burner, but it's also an alcohol stove windscreen. So what you do is you fill your fuel up in the alcohol stove, you place this thing in the bottom of the windscreen, and the pot sits right on top. What I like about this too is it's not gonna tip. So this works really well within the vestibule of my tent or within the confines of my tarp. This is beautiful. Now, I don't know that I would burn wood in this under my tarp. I certainly wouldn't burn wood in the vestibule of my tent. But this thing is a wood burning stove, a camp stove, a windscreen for an alcohol stove, and it's also the packing container for the whole freaking kitchen. Is that cool or what? Is it just me? Maybe it's just me. Anyway, that's my kit. That's what I take. I don't know. Is it too much? It probably is. I don't need to take this and the titanium firebox, but you know, why not? It doesn't weigh much. I told you the weights. So what do we got? We got about 6 pounds on the front with the 2 side panniers, bags. With the handlebar bag, that's another 4 pounds. So we're talking 10 there. The water bottles, that's another 4.5 pounds. So what does that bring it up to? 14.5-ish plus 16. So we're looking at about 30 pounds of kit altogether. You know, on a bicycle, that's nothing. That's nothing. Now the bike does have its own weight too, which I'm not going to go into that. I think it's I don't know what the bike weighs. It's heavy, but that's it. That's all I got. What more do you want? What more do you want from me? Let me know what you think. Love to hear from you. Thanks for hanging in there, gang. I see the sun's fixing to pop out, so I got to get the hell out of here. Cheers.